The crystalline goblet trembled in Marcus Webb's hand as Queen Zara's violet eyes watched him from across the golden table. The royal feast stretched before them, each dish more elaborate than the last, but something felt wrong. The alien queen's usual warmth had vanished, replaced by calculating coldness that made his human instincts scream danger. "You seem hesitant, Ambassador Webb," Queen Zara said, her melodic voice carrying an edge sharper than the ceremonial blade at her side. "The Luxorian cherry wine is a delicacy reserved only for our most honored guests." Marcus forced a smile while his enhanced vision detected microscopic particles floating in the purple liquid. His neural implant buzzed with warnings identifying trace amounts of Netherium toxin. A single sip would kill most species within minutes. His heart hammered against his ribs, but years of diplomatic training kept his expression neutral. "I'm simply savoring the moment, Your Majesty," he replied, raising the goblet slightly. "Such generosity deserves proper appreciation." The Queen's court watched in silence, their insectoid features unreadable behind ceremonial masks. General Crix, the Queen's military advisor, leaned forward with obvious anticipation. The setup was perfect, too perfect. Someone wanted him dead, and they were using the Queen's hospitality as cover. Marcus activated his emergency beacon with a subtle thumb movement, sending a distress signal to the human medical ship orbiting Luxoria Prime. Dr. Patricia Mills would receive the alert within seconds, giving her time to prepare for what was coming, he hoped. "To the eternal friendship between our species," Marcus declared, lifting the goblet higher. Queen Zara's eyes narrowed slightly. She hadn't expected him to actually drink. Whatever game she was playing, his death wasn't supposed to be this public. The toxin suggested assassination, but her body language screamed reluctance. Someone was forcing her hand. Marcus brought the goblet to his lips and drank deeply. The wine tasted like liquid starlight with an underlying metallic bitterness that confirmed his worst fears. Netherium toxin flooded his system, designed to shut down neural pathways and cause agonizing cellular breakdown. Any normal human would be convulsing on the floor by now. But Marcus Webb wasn't normal. His genetic modifications kicked in immediately, flooding his bloodstream with neutralizing enzymes. The experimental treatments he'd undergone during his military service were finally proving their worth. His enhanced metabolism began breaking down the toxin faster than it could spread, though the process felt like liquid fire coursing through his veins. "Excellent vintage," he managed, setting the empty goblet down with steady hands. "The subtle notes are remarkable." Queen Zara's violet eyes widened in shock. Whispers rippled through the court as Marcus remained upright, smiling despite the burning sensation in his chest. General Crix's mandibles clicked angrily. His plan obviously derailed. The toxin fought harder now, attacking his modified cellular structure with increasing desperation. Marcus felt his enhanced heart rate climb dangerously high as his body worked overtime to process the poison. Sweat beaded on his forehead, but he maintained his diplomatic composure, even as his vision began to blur at the edges. "Ambassador Webb?" Queen Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "How do you feel?" "Refreshed and honored by your hospitality," he replied, though each word required tremendous effort. His legs trembled slightly, but he remained standing, through sheer willpower. The royal physician, Dr. Yenox, approached the table with obvious concern. His tentacled face displayed worry patterns as he observed Marcus's condition. The alien doctor had clearly expected a very different outcome from this dinner. "Your Majesty," Dr. Yenox whispered urgently, "this is impossible." The concentration should have been fatal within 2 minutes. Marcus caught the exchange despite the growing fog in his mind. The Queen hadn't orchestrated this attempt personally. Someone else was pulling the strings, using her trusted physician to deliver death disguised as hospitality. His enhanced hearing picked up the subtle frequency of an encrypted communication device hidden somewhere in the room. The toxin reached his neural implant, causing sparks of pain to shoot through his skull. His body's defenses were holding, but barely. The modifications that had saved his life during the Centauri conflict were being pushed beyond their limits. He needed medical intervention soon, or even his enhanced physiology would succumb. Queen Zara stood abruptly, her ceremonial robes rustling like angry storms. "General Crix, clear the court immediately. Dr. Yanox, prepare your medical bay for emergency treatment." "But Your Majesty," Crix protested, his insectoid features twisting with frustration, "the human will recover. We should continue with the celebrations." The Queen's luminous skin flared bright purple, a sign of royal rage that sent courtiers scurrying for the exits. "For Paracinth, I said clear the court, General. Your concern for Ambassador Webb's entertainment is touching but unnecessary." Marcus swayed slightly as another wave of toxin-induced agony crashed through his system. His enhanced organs were winning the battle, but victory came at a steep price. Every breath felt like inhaling molten metal, and his vision narrowed to tunnel-like focus. "Your Majesty is most kind," he said, his voice remaining steady despite the internal chaos. "Though I confess the excitement of this evening has been quite overwhelming." The Queen approached him directly, ignoring protocol as her guards tensed nervously. Her violet eyes searched his face with newfound respect and growing suspicion. She had witnessed something impossible, and her calculating mind was already working through the implications. "Ambassador Webb," she said quietly, "you are not like other humans, are you?" Marcus met her gaze steadily as his enhanced immune system finally gained the upper hand against an etherium toxin. The burning sensation began to subside, replaced by the familiar warmth of his body's regenerative processes kicking into high gear. "I'm exactly like every other human, Your Majesty. We simply refuse to die when it's inconvenient." As if summoned by his words, the distinctive hum of human transport ships filled the air outside the palace. Dr. Patricia Mills had received his signal and responded with characteristic efficiency. The cavalry was arriving, though Marcus wasn't entirely sure he still needed rescuing. The real question now was whether Queen Zara had been complicit in the assassination attempt or merely an unwitting accomplice. Her shocked reaction suggested innocence, but in galactic politics, appearances could be devastatingly deceptive. Either way, this dinner had just become far more interesting than anyone had planned. The doors to the royal dining hall burst open as human medical personnel rushed inside, their advanced equipment humming with purpose. Queen Zara watched in fascination as her perfectly orchestrated evening dissolved into controlled chaos, with one impossible human standing at the center of it all. The real game was just beginning. Dr. Patricia Mills stormed into the royal dining hall with the fury of a woman who had spent 3 years keeping impossible patients alive. Her medical scanner whined as it analyzed Marcus's biological state, displaying readings that should have been attached to a corpse rather than a standing diplomat. "What did they give you?" she demanded, not bothering with royal protocol as she pressed the scanner against his neck. Queen Zara watched the interaction with growing amazement at human efficiency and complete disregard for proper etiquette. "Netherium toxin in the wine," Marcus replied calmly, as if discussing the weather rather than attempted murder. "Approximately 40 milligrams based on the taste profile." Patricia's scanner shrieked in alarm, confirming the presence of enough poison to kill a dozen unmodified humans. She immediately deployed her medical team, who began setting up a portable treatment unit with practiced precision that impressed even the watching alien courtiers. 40 milligrams should have liquefied your internal organs 20 minutes ago, she muttered, injecting him with broad-spectrum neutralizers anyway. "Your enhanced metabolism is working overtime, but we need to support your system before it burns out." Queen Zara stepped closer, her scientific curiosity overriding diplomatic caution. "Enhanced metabolism? What manner of modifications do humans possess?" "The kind that keep us alive when people try to poison us at dinner parties," Patricia replied tersely, watching her instruments track the toxin's breakdown in Marcus's bloodstream. "Marcus, your cellular regeneration is spiking beyond normal parameters. We need to get you to the medical bay." "I'm fine here," Marcus insisted, though his legs chose that moment to wobble slightly. "We can't leave things unresolved with Her Majesty. Someone just tried to commit an act of war using royal hospitality as cover." General Crix had been conspicuously absent since the Queen dismissed the court, Patricia noticed. The timing felt significant, especially considering the sophisticated nature of the assassination attempt. Netherium toxin wasn't something you could acquire at the local market. Your Majesty, Patricia said, addressing Queen Zara directly while her equipment continued monitoring Marcus's condition. This toxin requires laboratory synthesis and expert knowledge of human physiology. Whoever planned this attack had inside information about Ambassador Webb's diplomatic schedule. The Queen's violet eyes flashed with dangerous light. Are you suggesting someone in my court committed treason? I'm suggesting someone with access to both your kitchen and classified human biological data tried to murder my patient, Patricia replied bluntly. The question is whether you're going to help us find them or pretend this was an unfortunate accident. Marcus felt his enhanced cardiovascular system finally stabilizing as the last traces of Netherium cleared from his bloodstream. The burning sensation faded to a dull ache, replaced by the familiar tingle of his body's repair mechanisms working at peak efficiency. His genetic modifications had saved his life, but the experience had pushed them to their absolute limits. Dr. Mills is correct, he said, his voice growing stronger with each word. This attack required precise timing, detailed knowledge of my schedule, and access to restricted alien biotechnology. The perpetrator is either in this room or has confederates who are. Queen Zara's luminous skin shifted through several color patterns as she processed the implications. Her trusted advisors, her kitchen staff, her security personnel, any of them could be compromised. The violation of royal hospitality was bad enough, but the threat to galactic peace made the situation exponentially worse. Dr. Yanox, she called to her royal physician, who had been hovering nervously near the medical equipment. Explain how Netherium toxin came to be in my wine cellars. The tentacled doctor's skin patterns flickered with obvious distress. Your Majesty, I have no knowledge of any toxins in the royal stores. This substance must have been introduced recently, perhaps minutes before serving. Patricia's scanner detected elevated stress hormones in the alien physician's system, but that could indicate either guilt or legitimate fear. Her medical tricorder wasn't designed for alien lie detection, though the readings suggested genuine surprise rather than calculated deception. Someone switched the bottles, Marcus realized, his enhanced cognitive functions finally clearing the last fog from his mind. The original wine was probably destroyed or replaced with identical containers containing the toxin. That kind of precision requires inside knowledge of royal protocol. Queen Zara began pacing, her movements sharp and predatory. General Crix suggested this particular vintage. He claimed it would demonstrate proper respect for human diplomatic traditions. The pieces clicked together with terrifying clarity. Crix had orchestrated the entire evening, from the wine selection to the seating arrangements. His convenient absence following the failed assassination attempt now seemed like guilty flight rather than coincidental timing. Your Majesty, Patricia interrupted. My sensors are detecting unusual energy signatures from the palace communication systems. Someone's been broadcasting encrypted signals on frequencies typically used by military networks. Marcus's enhanced hearing picked up the subtle electronic whisper she was referencing. His neural implant analyzed the signal pattern, identifying it as a Crixian military code used for covert operations. The general wasn't just fleeing. He was coordinating with outside forces. He's not working alone, Marcus said grimly. This assassination attempt was cover for something larger. While everyone focused on my death, his accomplices could move freely throughout the palace. Queen Zara's color shifted to deep purple rage as the full scope of the betrayal became clear. Her most trusted military advisor had not only tried to murder a diplomatic guest, but had used the distraction to compromise palace security. The implications for her reign and galactic stability were staggering. Alert the palace guard, she commanded her remaining staff. General Crix is to be arrested immediately on charges of treason and attempted murder. Seal all communication arrays and search every room for unauthorized personnel. Patricia's medical equipment detected multiple energy weapons powering up throughout the palace complex. The situation was escalating beyond diplomatic incident into active military confrontation. Her portable medical bay wasn't designed to function in a combat zone. We need to evacuate now, she told Marcus urgently. My readings show at least 30 armed individuals moving through the palace. This isn't just an assassination attempt anymore. It's a coup. Marcus shook his head, his enhanced physiology now fully recovered from the poisoning. We can't abandon Queen Zara. If Krix succeeds in overthrowing her government, the entire sector could destabilize. Human interests require a stable Luxorian monarchy. The Queen looked between the two humans with growing respect and amazement. Despite nearly dying from poison and facing armed rebellion, they were prepared to risk their lives defending her throne. Such loyalty from aliens was unprecedented in her experience. Ambassador Webb, Mills, she said formally, I hereby request asylum protection under the Galactic Diplomatic Accord. Will humanity stand with Luxoria against this treachery? Patricia looked at Marcus, recognizing the weight of the moment. His answer would either cement an alliance that could reshape galactic politics or condemn them to die in a foreign palace alongside a deposed queen. The enhanced human who had survived impossible poison was about to make a decision that would echo across star systems. The sound of approaching combat boots echoed through the palace corridors as Marcus smiled grimly and reached for his diplomatic communicator. Doctor? Mills, contact Fleet Command. Tell them we need immediate military support for our allied government under attack. It seems our dinner party is about to become significantly more exciting. The palace lights flickered as energy weapons discharged in distant corridors, signaling that General Krix's rebellion had moved beyond planning into active violence. Marcus activated his emergency communicator, while Patricia's medical sensors detected the approach of multiple armed groups converging on the royal dining hall. Fleet Command, this is Ambassador Webb declaring Code 7 Diplomatic Emergency. Marcus spoke rapidly into the device, requesting immediate military intervention to protect Allied government from internal coup. Queen Zara of Luxoria requires asylum and defensive support. Admiral Helen Carter's voice crackled through the communicator with characteristic efficiency. Marcus, we have battlecruiser USS Defiance in system. What's your tactical situation? Hostile forces converging on the palace. Estimated battalion strength with energy weapons, he replied while helping Patricia pack her medical equipment. I need Marine insertion team and air support within 10 minutes or this government falls. Queen Zara watched the exchange with growing amazement at human military coordination. Within seconds of her request for asylum, these aliens were mobilizing warships and preparing to risk their lives defending her throne. Such rapid response suggested capabilities far beyond what intelligence reports had indicated. Your Majesty, Patricia said urgently, my sensors show armed groups approaching from 3 different directions. We need to reach a more defensible position immediately. The Queen's violet eyes blazed with determination as she activated her personal shield generator and drew an elegant energy weapon from her ceremonial robes. The royal bunker is 2 levels down through the emergency passages. Follow me and stay close. They moved swiftly through hidden corridors Marcus had never seen during his diplomatic visits. Queen Zara's knowledge of the palace's secret passages proved invaluable, as explosions echoed above them, suggesting Krix's forces were using heavy weapons to breach the royal quarters. How long have you suspected General Krix's disloyalty? Marcus asked as they descended a narrow staircase carved from living crystal. 3 months, she admitted, pausing to scan for threats with her weapon raised. Intelligence reports suggested communication with separatist factions, but I needed proof before acting. Tonight's assassination attempt was either desperation or overconfidence. Patricia's medical scanner detected elevated stress readings from both her companions, though neither showed signs of panic. Her enhanced first aid training included combat medicine, but she hoped those skills wouldn't be necessary in the next few minutes. The emergency passage opened into a sophisticated command center buried deep within the palace structure. Multiple screens displayed tactical information as automated defense systems engaged Krix's advancing forces throughout the complex above. Queen Zara's preparation for exactly this type of crisis impressed Marcus considerably. Admiral Carter, this is Webb, Marcus reported into his communicator. We've reached secure position designated Royal Command. Can you provide aerial reconnaissance of hostile force disposition? Affirmative, Webb. Defiant sensors show approximately 40 armed individuals in 3 groups converging on the palace center. 2 additional groups are moving toward landing pads, suggesting planned evacuation routes. Queen Zara activated her own communication systems. her fingers dancing over holographic controls with practiced efficiency. Royal Guard units, this is Queen Zara commanding from Emergency Position Alpha. General Crix has committed treason and is leading armed rebellion against the crown. All units loyal to the throne are ordered to resist and contain hostile forces. The responses came immediately from throughout the palace complex. Most guard units declared loyalty to the Queen, but several remained ominously silent. Crix had clearly spent months cultivating support among military units, though his influence appeared limited rather than comprehensive. "Your Majesty," Patricia observed while monitoring her instruments. "The rebel forces are using Luxorian military equipment but also weapons I don't recognize. Someone's been supplying them with off-world technology." Marcus studied the tactical displays showing weapon signatures from the attacking forces. His enhanced analytical capabilities identified several energy patterns consistent with Crixian military hardware, confirming his suspicions about outside involvement in the coup attempt. "This isn't just internal rebellion," he concluded grimly. "Crix is allied with the Crixian Empire. They're using him to destabilize Luxoria before attempting conquest." Queen Zara's luminous skin flashed brilliant white with rage as the implications became clear. Her trusted military advisor hadn't just betrayed her personally, he had sold their entire civilization to traditional enemies in exchange for power. The scale of treachery was almost incomprehensible. "Admiral Carter," Marcus called urgently, "we have confirmed Crixian involvement in this coup attempt. This is no longer an internal affair but active invasion by hostile empire. Recommend immediate escalation to Fleet Command." "Understood, Webb. Defiance is moving to combat altitude and preparing marine deployment. Admiral Foster's task force is inbound with ETA 4 hours. Can you hold position that long?" Patricia's sensors detected new movement patterns as additional forces began landing at the palace spaceport. The rebellion was receiving reinforcements faster than anticipated, suggesting coordination with Crixian military units stationed in nearby systems. Time was running out for the legitimate government. "Your Majesty," she said quietly, "my medical readings indicate your stress levels are approaching dangerous parameters. The royal physician should examine you immediately." Dr. Yennox remained in the upper palace, Queen Zara replied, her voice tight with controlled fury. "If he survived the initial assault, he's either captured or in hiding. We cannot depend on his assistance." Marcus checked his weapon systems automatically, his military training asserting itself as the situation deteriorated. His diplomatic immunity wouldn't matter much if Crix's forces stormed the command center, and his enhanced combat modifications might prove more valuable than his negotiation skills. "I'm detecting energy weapons signatures moving toward our position," Patricia warned, her scanner displaying multiple hostile contacts descending through the palace levels. "They've identified our location and are moving to eliminate remaining resistance." The Queen's fingers flew over her control systems as she activated final defensive protocols. Blast doors sealed throughout the complex while automated weapon systems came online, turning the palace into a fortress designed to protect the royal bloodline during exactly this type of crisis. "How long can these defenses hold?" Marcus asked, studying the tactical information flowing across multiple displays. "Against conventional forces, several days," Queen Zara replied with grim satisfaction. "Against Crixian military technology with inside knowledge of our systems, perhaps 2 hours." Admiral Carter's voice crackled through Marcus's communicator with welcome urgency. "Webb, Marine shuttles launching in 30 seconds. Defiance is targeting hostile landing ships with precision strikes. We're coming to get you." Patricia watched her instruments as they detected the distinctive energy signatures of human military spacecraft entering Luxoria's atmosphere. The cavalry was arriving with characteristic human efficiency, though whether they would arrive in time remained an open question. "Your Majesty," Marcus said formally, "once my people arrive, I recommend immediate evacuation to human space until this crisis resolves. Your safety takes precedence over everything else." Queen Zara's violet eyes met his with newfound respect and determination. "Ambassador Webb, if I flee now, Crix wins by default. Better to die defending my throne than live as an exile while my people suffer under occupation." The sound of heavy weapons fire echoed through the palace structure as automated defenses engaged approaching rebel forces. The battle for Luxoria's future was reaching its climax, with the survival of an entire civilization hanging in the balance. Marcus checked his weapon one final time as the enemy closed in. The blast doors shuddered under repeated energy weapon strikes as General Crix's forces attempted to breach the Royal Command Center. Marcus positioned himself beside Queen Zara at the tactical console while Patricia prepared her medical equipment for potential casualties, her hands steady despite the approaching danger. "Ambassador Webb," the Queen said quietly, "if we don't survive this, I want you to know that witnessing your survival of the poison has taught me something profound about human resilience. Your species possesses qualities we never understood." Marcus checked his weapon's charge level while monitoring the defensive system's display. "Your Majesty, humans have a saying about counting chickens before they hatch. We're not dead yet, and my people have a remarkable talent for dramatic rescues." The command center's sensors detected Marine shuttles landing in the palace courtyard as Admiral Carter's forces began their assault on rebel positions. Energy weapons fire intensified throughout the complex as human military technology engaged Crixian equipment in deadly combat. "Patricia, any word from the medical ship?" Marcus asked while tracking friendly force movements on the tactical display. "Doctor, Hammond reports full surgical capability standing by," she replied, her scanner monitoring the battle's progression through different palace levels. "He's also prepared trauma bays for any alien casualties we might need to treat." Queen Zara activated her personal communicator to address remaining loyal forces throughout the palace complex. "All units, human military forces are engaging rebel positions. Coordinate with their commanders and assist in eliminating General Crix and his conspirators." The response from her guards was immediate and fierce. Years of loyal service to the crown couldn't be erased by a single night of treachery, and most Luxorian military units had remained faithful despite Crix's months of recruitment among dissatisfied officers. "Your Majesty," Marcus observed, studying the tactical information. "Crix is retreating toward the spaceport with his core supporters. He's attempting evacuation rather than fighting to the finish. That suggests his Crixian allies promised extraction if the coup failed." Admiral Carter's voice crackled through the communicator with combat efficiency. "Webb, we have rebel forces in full retreat toward landing pads. Defiance is targeting evacuation ships, but some may escape. What are your orders regarding General Crix specifically?" Marcus looked at Queen Zara, recognizing that this decision belonged to her rather than human military command. The general had betrayed his own species and government, making his fate a matter of Luxorian justice rather than human intervention. "Capture if possible, eliminate if necessary," she replied with royal authority that brooked no argument. General Crix must answer for his crimes, but not at the cost of additional loyal lives. Patricia's instruments detected the distinctive energy signature of Crixian transport ships attempting to launch from the palace spaceport. The rebellion had clearly been planned as a quick strike, with predetermined escape routes, suggesting considerable advance preparation and outside coordination. "Admiral, enemy transports attempting departure from multiple landing zones," Marcus reported. "Some rebel leadership may escape if not intercepted immediately." "Defiance engaging now," Carter replied as the sound of atmospheric energy weapons reached even the buried command center. "Multiple hostile ships destroyed, but at least 2 have cleared gravity well and are accelerating towards system edge." The blast doors finally gave way under concentrated fire as Crix's remaining forces made a final desperate assault on the command center. Marcus raised his weapon as armed figures poured through the breach, their faces hidden behind military assault masks. "Surrender the false queen and the human spy," the lead attacker demanded, his voice electronically distorted. "General Crix offers clemency for those who cooperate with the new government." Queen Zara stepped forward with royal dignity intact despite the dire circumstances. Her luminous skin blazed with defiant light as she faced the rebels who had violated the most sacred laws of hospitality and loyalty. "I am Queen Zara, legitimately crowned ruler of Luxoria, she declared with absolute authority. You are traitors and invaders who will face justice for your crimes against the crown and our people. Marcus kept his weapon trained on the rebel leader while calculating tactical options. His enhanced reflexes and combat modifications gave him significant advantages, but they were outnumbered and trapped in a confined space. Victory required precision rather than firepower. The rebel leader raised his weapon toward Queen Zara just as marine combat armor appeared in the damaged doorway behind him. Human military efficiency had finally reached the Royal Command Center, turning the tactical situation on its head in seconds. Human Marines, drop your weapons immediately, the squad leader commanded through amplified speakers. You are in violation of Galactic Diplomatic Accord and subject to summary justice. The rebel forces found themselves caught between armed humans behind them and Marcus's weapon in front. Their escape routes were eliminated, their reinforcements defeated, and their general in flight toward uncertain evacuation. The coup had collapsed with the arrival of human military support. I surrender to Queen Zara's lawful authority, the rebel leader said quickly, recognizing that human Marines were likely to be less forgiving than Luxorian royal justice. My forces will lay down arms and submit to royal mercy. Patricia emerged from behind her equipment as the immediate danger passed, her medical scanner detecting numerous injuries among both rebels and loyal forces throughout the palace. Her services would be needed for hours as the aftermath of the failed coup was processed. Your Majesty, Marcus said formally, I hereby confirm that human forces have successfully defended your legitimate government against armed rebellion and foreign invasion. The alliance between our species has been sealed in combat. Queen Zara approached him with genuine gratitude and newfound respect. Ambassador Webb, your survival of assassination and your people's immediate military response have demonstrated capabilities we never imagined. Luxoria owes humanity a debt that cannot be easily repaid. Admiral Carter's voice through the communicator confirmed the broader tactical situation. Palace secured, rebel forces neutralized or captured. General Crix escaped in a Crixian transport but fled the system under Defiance pursuit. Recommend immediate diplomatic follow-up to consolidate political situation. Marcus holstered his weapon as Marine medics began treating wounded personnel from both sides of the conflict. The assassination attempt that had started the evening seemed almost trivial compared to the larger conspiracy they had uncovered and defeated. Your Majesty, he said quietly, this attack was just the beginning. The Crixian Empire will view tonight's failure as a temporary setback rather than permanent defeat. We need to discuss extensive military cooperation to prevent future attempts. Queen Zara nodded solemnly as she surveyed the damage to her palace and government. The price of victory had been high, but the cost of defeat would have been the destruction of everything her people had built over centuries of civilization. Patricia finished her preliminary medical assessments and approached them both. Your Majesty, Ambassador Webb's enhanced physiology prevented one disaster tonight, but proper medical monitoring will be essential for future diplomatic engagements. We can't assume every poisoning attempt will be survivable. The Queen looked between them with growing understanding of the remarkable humans who had risked everything to defend her throne. Tonight had changed the balance of power in the sector, but more importantly, it had forged an alliance that would reshape galactic politics for generations to come. Admiral Carter's tactical briefing filled the main screen of the Royal Command Center as damage assessment teams worked throughout the palace above. Marcus sat beside Queen Zara, both of them studying intelligence reports that painted a disturbing picture of Crixian military preparation throughout the sector. General Crix's escape ship reached the Crixian battle group at System Edge, confirming our suspicions about coordinated invasion planning, Carter reported from the bridge of USS Defiance. Long-range sensors detect at least 12 enemy warships positioned for immediate strike capability. Queen Zara's luminous skin shifted through several worried color patterns as she absorbed the implications. Tonight's coup attempt had been merely the opening move in a larger military campaign designed to conquer Luxoria through internal subversion, followed by external force. Admiral, what is Defiance's assessment of enemy fleet strength? Marcus asked while reviewing tactical projections on his portable display. His enhanced analytical capabilities were already processing multiple defensive scenarios based on the available data, insufficient for sustained engagement without reinforcement. Carter replied honestly. Admiral Foster's task force won't arrive for 3 hours, and the Crixians could launch full assault within 1 hour, if they choose immediate escalation. Patricia looked up from her medical station where she had been treating wounded palace guards with advanced human medical technology. The injured personnel are asking about evacuation procedures, Your Majesty. Should we prepare contingency plans for civilian population centers? Queen Zara stood slowly, her royal bearing intact despite exhaustion from the night's events. Dr. Mills, Luxorians do not abandon our homeworld to invaders. If the Crixians want our planet, they will pay for every meter of conquered territory. Marcus activated his secure communication link to Fleet Command, bypassing normal diplomatic channels in favor of military emergency protocols. The situation had evolved beyond peaceful negotiation into potential interstellar war requiring immediate strategic response. Fleet Command, this is Ambassador Webb, declaring existential threat to Allied government. He spoke rapidly. Crixian Empire has attempted government overthrow followed by military invasion of Luxoria Prime, requesting immediate battle group deployment and authorization for defensive warfare. Admiral Helen Foster's voice responded within seconds, confirming that human military command had been monitoring the situation closely. Marcus, Battle Group 7 is accelerating toward your position. ETA 90 minutes. Admiral Carter has tactical command until I arrive. The Queen studied the tactical displays showing Crixian ships positioning themselves for planetary assault. Their formation suggested coordination between multiple fleet elements, confirming that tonight's events were part of a carefully orchestrated campaign rather than opportunistic aggression. Ambassador Webb, she said formally, I hereby invoke Article 7 of the Galactic Defense Accord and request immediate military alliance with humanity against Crixian aggression. My government offers full cooperation and joint command authority. Marcus felt the weight of the moment as he realized his response would either prevent interstellar war or potentially expand it beyond controllable limits. Queen Zara was essentially asking humanity to risk everything defending an alien civilization against another alien empire. Your Majesty, on behalf of the Terran Federation, I accept your alliance proposal subject to Fleet Command confirmation, he replied solemnly. Human forces will defend Luxoria against Crixian invasion with all available resources. Patricia's medical sensors detected the distinctive energy signatures of additional spacecraft entering the system as both sides prepared for potential combat. Her portable medical facility was equipped for treating human personnel, but she would need to adapt quickly for alien casualties if fighting erupted. Admiral Carter, Marcus called through his communicator. Queen Zara has formally requested military alliance under Article 7 protocols. What is your assessment of defensive capabilities until reinforcement arrives? Palace defense systems are impressive, but insufficient against fleet-level bombardment, Carter replied while reviewing tactical options. We need to force enemy ground engagement rather than allowing orbital strikes against population centers. Queen Zara activated her planetary defense network through the command center's systems. Hidden weapon installations throughout Luxoria Prime came online, revealing defensive capabilities far beyond what intelligence reports had suggested to either human or Crixian military planners. General Crix provided the Crixians with detailed intelligence about our conventional military assets, she explained as the tactical display showed dozens of concealed positions activating simultaneously. However, he never had access to our deepest defensive secrets. Marcus watched in amazement as the planet's true defensive potential became visible. Luxoria had been preparing for exactly this type of invasion for decades, with layered defense systems designed to make conquest prohibitively expensive. Your Majesty, these installations could hold off Crixian ground forces indefinitely, he observed while studying the deployment patterns. Combined with human naval support, we might actually achieve defensive victory. Admiral Carter's voice carried new optimism as Defiance's sensors cataloged the newly revealed Luxorian military capabilities. Parasynthonatic. If Queen Zara's people can hold key population centers, Defiance can prevent orbital bombardment until Foster arrives with reinforcement. The main display suddenly showed movement from the Crixian fleet as enemy ships began advancing toward Luxoria Prime. The waiting was over, and the battle for the planet's survival was beginning in earnest. Marcus checked his weapons systems while Patricia prepared her medical station for incoming casualties. All stations, this is Admiral Carter commanding Joint Human Luxorian Defense, the Admiral's voice announced through all communication channels. Enemy fleet approaching engagement range. All defensive units prepare for immediate combat operations. Queen Zara raised her ceremonial weapon with royal determination. My people have survived for 3,000 years by refusing to surrender to impossible odds. Tonight, we discover whether human partnership can help us survive another 3,000. Patricia looked between her human colleague and the alien queen who had just committed their peoples to mutual defense against overwhelming force. Marcus, the next few hours are going to determine the fate of this entire sector. Are we really prepared for what comes next? Marcus smiled grimly as his enhanced combat systems activated automatically. Patricia, humans have been fighting impossible battles since we learned to make fire. Tonight's just another Tuesday for us, but for Queen Zara's people, it might be the most important night in their history. The first energy weapons exchanges began lighting up space around Luxoria as Defiance engaged the advancing Crixian fleet. The alliance forged in poison and betrayal was about to be tested in the fires of interstellar combat, with the survival of an entire civilization hanging in the balance. Above them, the real battle was just beginning. The palace shuddered as Crixian bombardment struck Luxoria's upper atmosphere, deflected but not entirely stopped by planetary defense shields. Queen Zara's command center displays show dozens of simultaneous engagements across the planet, as her hidden military installations engaged landing forces attempting to establish beachheads. Patricia, casualty reports are coming in from 12 different combat zones, Marcus called while coordinating with human marine units through his communicator. Your medical expertise is needed immediately at the northern spaceport, where Crixian assault troops breached the defense perimeter. Dr. PBCE Mills grabbed her portable medical kit while studying the tactical situation on her scanner. I can treat basic combat injuries, but alien physiology complications are beyond my training. We need Dr. Yenox or another Luxorian physician for serious casualties. Queen Zara activated her emergency medical protocols, calling all available healthcare personnel to active duty supporting the planetary defense. Dr. BAICC suggests that Yenox survived the initial palace assault and is establishing field hospitals near major combat zones. He can coordinate with your medical teams. Admiral Carter's voice crackled through the communicator with urgent tactical updates. Webb, Crixian ground forces are landing in force at 6 locations. Defiance is engaging their fleet but can't prevent all surface deployments. We need those defensive installations operational immediately. Marcus studied the holographic battle display showing friendly and enemy positions throughout the planet's surface. Queen Zara's concealed weapons were performing better than expected, but Crixian forces were adapting quickly to defensive tactics they hadn't anticipated. Your Majesty, the enemy is concentrating attacks on population centers rather than military targets, he observed grimly. They're trying to force political surrender through civilian casualties rather than defeating your military directly. The Queen's luminous skin flashed white with rage as she recognized the Crixian strategy. Her people's cities were becoming battlefields because the invaders calculated that political pressure would succeed where military force might fail. All defensive units, this is Queen Zara commanding, she broadcast to forces throughout the planet. Crixian forces are targeting civilian areas. Protect our people at all costs, but do not allow them to use our compassion against us. Patricia's medical sensors detected massive trauma signatures from multiple locations as the battle intensified. Her human medical technology could save lives that alien medicine might not be able to preserve, but she couldn't be everywhere at once. Marcus, I need transport to the worst casualty zones immediately, she demanded while loading her equipment onto a portable stretcher unit. These readings suggest hundreds of wounded who need immediate attention. Admiral Carter anticipated the request before Marcus could respond. Medical shuttle launching from Defiance with human surgical team aboard. Dr. Mills, you'll have full support capabilities within 10 minutes. Queen Zara watched the efficiency of human military medical coordination with growing admiration. Her own forces were brave and determined, but they lacked the systematic approach to battlefield medicine that could mean the difference between victory and catastrophic loss. The command center's main display suddenly showed new contacts entering the system as Admiral Foster's battle group dropped out of hyperspace precisely on schedule. 8 human warships immediately engaged the Crixian fleet from an unexpected direction, forcing enemy forces to divide their attention between orbital bombardment and naval combat. "This is Admiral Foster, commanding Battle Group 7, the Admiral's voice announced through all frequencies. "Human and Luxorian forces maintain defensive positions while we eliminate enemy fleet capabilities." Marcus felt his enhanced analytical systems processing the tactical situation with growing optimism. The arrival of human reinforcements had changed the mathematical balance of forces from hopeless defense to winnable engagement. Victory was becoming possible rather than merely theoretical. "Your Majesty," he said quietly, "Admiral Foster's reputation suggests we're about to witness why the Crixian Empire generally avoids direct confrontation with human military forces. The space battle above Luxoria intensified dramatically as superior human technology engaged Crixian warships in direct combat. Energy weapons that could destroy planets were being wielded with surgical precision to eliminate specific threats while avoiding collateral damage to the planet below." Patricia's communicator buzzed with incoming messages from human medical personnel, establishing field hospitals throughout the combat zones. "Marcus, they're asking about alien physiology compatibility with human medical technology. I need to brief Luxorian medical staff immediately." "Doctor, Yenox can coordinate medical cooperation," Queen Zara suggested while monitoring the battle's progression through her tactical displays. "His knowledge of human biology from tonight's poisoning incident makes him ideal for joint treatment protocols. The palace defense systems detected incoming Crixian assault shuttles attempting to penetrate the royal complex's shields. General Crix's intimate knowledge of palace security was being used to guide enemy forces toward the most vulnerable approach routes. Admiral Carter, we have enemy forces approaching the Royal Command Center through passages Crix revealed to his handlers," Marcus reported while checking his weapon systems. "Request immediate Marine support for Palace defense." "Negative, Webb. All Marine units are engaged at critical defensive positions planet-wide. You'll need to hold your position with local forces until tactical situation permits reallocation." Marcus looked at Queen Zara with grim determination as her palace guards prepared to defend the command center against superior enemy forces. The irony wasn't lost that the assassination attempt that started their evening might be resolved through direct combat after all. "Your Majesty, how many guards remain operational in the palace complex?" he asked while reviewing defensive positions on the tactical display. "Approximately 20 combat-capable personnel, plus automated defense systems that Crix's intelligence may have compromised," she replied honestly. "We are heavily outnumbered, but defending familiar territory provides certain advantages." Patricia finished her medical preparations and grabbed her weapon from its storage case. "I'm staying here until the palace is secure. My medical skills won't matter if we don't survive the next hour." The sound of heavy combat grew closer as Crixian assault troops fought through the palace's upper levels toward the Royal Command Center. Queen Zara's automated defenses were slowing their advance but couldn't stop determined enemies with inside knowledge of the facility's layout. Marcus activated his personal defense protocols as his enhanced combat modifications prepared for close quarters battle. The diplomatic immunity that had protected him during peaceful negotiations was about to be tested in deadly combat against professional soldiers. "Admiral Foster," he called through his communicator. "If this command center falls, Queen Zara's government becomes effectively headless. Political victory for the Crixians, regardless of military outcome." Foster's response carried the weight of strategic understanding. "Understood, Ambassador. Maintain position at all costs. Battle Group 7 is accelerating fleet engagement to create tactical opportunity for palace relief." Above them, the fate of Luxoria was being decided in space and on land simultaneously. The alliance forged in poisoned wine was about to face its ultimate test. The final blast door leading to the Royal Command Center exploded inward as Crixian assault troops breached the last defensive barrier. Marcus dove behind a tactical console while Queen Zara activated her personal shield generator, the energy field crackling to life around her royal form. "Surrender the Pretender Queen and the human spy," the Crixian assault leader demanded through his helmet's voice amplifier. "Emperor Vex offers clemency for those who cooperate with the legitimate new government." Patricia crouched behind her medical station, weapon ready despite her peaceful medical training. Her scanner detected at least 15 enemy soldiers in full combat armor advancing through the smoking breach in the palace's deepest defenses. "I am Queen Zara, lawful ruler of Luxoria," the queen replied with absolute dignity, despite facing impossible odds. "Your emperor is a war criminal whose conquest will be remembered as the greatest mistake in Crixian history." Marcus counted enemy positions while his enhanced reflexes calculated tactical options. His diplomatic training included combat scenarios, but 15 professional soldiers in an enclosed space presented challenges even his enhanced physiology might not overcome. "Admiral Foster? Command center under direct assault by superior enemy force," he reported quickly through his communicator. "If you have any tactical surprises available, now would be an excellent time to deploy them." The Crixian leader raised his weapon toward Queen Zara just as the palace's main power grid suddenly surged beyond normal parameters. Every light, every display, every electronic system in the command center blazed with brilliant energy as hidden systems activated throughout the complex. "What is happening?" the assault leader demanded as his tactical displays began malfunctioning from electromagnetic interference generated by the power surge. Queen Zara smiled with royal satisfaction as her ultimate defensive protocol engaged automatically. "Gentlemen, you are about to discover why previous attempts to conquer Luxoria have failed throughout our recorded history." The palace itself began to transform as ancient defense mechanisms built into its very structure, activated for the first time in 3 centuries. Walls shifted, floors reconfigured, and hidden weapon systems emerged from concealed positions throughout the complex. Marcus watched in amazement as the Royal Command Center became the nerve center of a fortress designed by architects who had planned for exactly this type of invasion. The palace had literally become a living weapon system, controlled directly by the Queen's genetic signature. "Impossible," the Crixian leader whispered as his assault troops found themselves surrounded by defensive systems they hadn't known existed. Intelligence reports indicated no such capabilities. "General Crix never possessed clearance for our deepest secrets," Queen Zara replied, while ancient mechanisms responded to her mental commands. "Only the royal bloodline can activate these defenses, and only when the crown itself is directly threatened." Patricia's medical scanner went wild as it detected massive energy buildups throughout the palace structure. Whatever Queen Zara had activated was operating on power levels that seemed impossible for a single building to generate or control. The Crixian assault troops suddenly found themselves facing automated defense systems that emerged from the walls themselves. Energy weapons of unfamiliar design began targeting their positions with precision. That suggested artificial intelligence guidance systems. "Admiral Foster, the palace has activated some kind of ultimate defense system," Marcus reported, while watching enemy soldiers retreat under fire from weapons they couldn't locate or target effectively. "Queen Zara appears to have strategic capabilities no one suspected." Foster's voice carried new respect as orbital sensors detected the massive energy signature emanating from the royal palace. "Webb, we're reading power levels that rival our own battlecruiser main reactors. What exactly is that building?" Queen Zara stood calmly in the center of controlled chaos as her ancestral home defended itself against invasion. "Admiral Foster, the royal palace of Luxoria was constructed as the ultimate fortress by my ancestors. Tonight, you witness why our world has remained unconquered for 3 millennia. The Crixian assault leader ordered his surviving troops to retreat as palace defenses systematically eliminated their tactical advantages. Their sophisticated combat armor proved inadequate against weapons designed by civilizations that had been preparing for invasion since before humanity had discovered space travel. "All Crixian ground forces. This is Assault Commander Thex." His voice crackled through intercepted communications. "Palace target is too heavily defended. Recommend immediate orbital bombardment regardless of collateral damage. Admiral Foster's response came through all frequencies as Battle Group 7 engaged the Crixian fleet with overwhelming force. Crixian vessels, any attempt at planetary bombardment will result in the immediate destruction of your entire fleet. Surrender now or face complete annihilation. Marcus felt his enhanced combat systems relaxing as the immediate threat to the command center diminished. The palace's ancient defenses had turned certain defeat into tactical victory, though the larger battle for Luxoria's survival continued throughout the planet. Your Majesty, Patricia said quietly, my medical sensors show the Crixian casualties in this room require immediate attention. Do your defensive protocols allow for treating enemy wounded? Queen Zara considered the question while her palace continued eliminating remaining threats throughout its structure. Dr. Mills. Luxorian law requires medical treatment for all wounded, regardless of their allegiance during combat. Ancient honor codes supersede modern warfare. The main display showed Admiral Foster's battle group systematically destroying Crixian warships that refused surrender while protecting those that attempted to comply with ceasefire demands. Human military efficiency was ending the space battle with decisive superiority. Marcus activated his communicator to coordinate diplomatic follow-up to the military victory. Admiral Foster, recommend immediate contact with Crixian Empire leadership to prevent escalation beyond this system. Tonight's events could trigger sector-wide conflict if not handled properly. Agreed, Ambassador. Fleet Command is already initiating diplomatic channels to prevent this incident from expanding into full interstellar war. Your survival and Queen Zara's successful defense have given us negotiating positions we didn't have 6 hours ago. Patricia began treating wounded Crixian soldiers with the same professional medical attention she would provide to human casualties. Her actions demonstrated the values that separated civilization from conquest, mercy from victory. Your Majesty, Marcus said formally, the alliance between humanity and Luxoria has been forged in combat and sealed in mutual sacrifice. This partnership will reshape galactic politics for generations to come. Queen Zara looked around her transformed palace as ancient systems began powering down after successfully defending her throne. Ambassador Webb, your survival of assassination and your people's immediate military response have proven that some alliances are worth any price. The crisis that began with poisoned wine had ended with interstellar warfare, but the bonds formed in combat would last far beyond tonight's victories. The human who refused to die and the queen who refused to surrender had changed the balance of power across star systems. Above them, Admiral Foster's fleet maintained vigilant patrol as diplomats prepared to negotiate the peace that would prevent future wars. The real victory wasn't military conquest, but the demonstration that some values were worth defending regardless of the cost. The alliance had begun with trust and been strengthened through shared danger. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight had proven that humanity and Luxoria could face anything together. Human Queen watches a man survive poisoned royal food and summon galactic doctors.